Welcome. So today we are diving into the wild, world-shattering, and yeah, often violent teaching methods of one of history's most radical Zen masters, a guy named Linji. You might want to forget everything you think you know about quiet meditation because this is a story of shouts, blows, and a truly shocking path to enlightenment.
All right, let's just jump right into the heart of it. It all kicks off, as these stories often do, with a young monk asking his master a pretty simple but unbelievably profound question.
Now you have to get this. This isn't just, small talk. This is the question. He's asking about the fundamental principle, the absolute ultimate truth of the entire Buddhist path. He's basically asking for the secret to everything. And the master's response? It wasn't some deep philosophical poem, not a gentle little story. Nope. The answer he got was a stick, hard and fast 20 times. And believe me, this was only the beginning. Because as it turns out, that young monk, the one who was just beaten and was totally confused, was none other than Linji himself. And his own path to enlightenment began not with some flash of insight, but with just profound confusion and a whole lot of pain. But here's the thing, it wasn't a one-time deal. A senior monk saw how sincere Linji was and actually encouraged him to go back and ask again. So Linji, full of determination, goes back to his master a second time. He asks the exact same question and gets the exact same brutal answer. And then he does it a third time with the exact same result. 60 blows. Can you even imagine? And with zero explanation, not even a tiny hint about what he was doing wrong. Linji was just completely crushed. He figured he must have some awful spiritual block, that he had no real connection with his master. And he decided, that's it, I'm leaving the monastery for good. But his master, Huangbo, didn't just let him walk away. He actually sent him to go see another master, a guy named Dayu. And what Dayu told Linji, well, it completely shattered his understanding of everything that had just happened. Wait, a grandmother? The man who just beat him with a stick 60 times was acting out of grandmotherly compassion? Dayu explained that the beatings, they weren't punishment at all. They were this desperate, compassionate act designed to completely demolish Linji's reliance on his thinking mind. You know, that endless internal voice that tries to analyze its way to the truth. And hearing this, it was like the entire universe just shifted for Linji. It all just clicked. The beatings were never about getting the right words for an answer. They were about destroying the very part of him that was asking the question that way in the first place. The part that thinks every single problem can be solved with just a little more thinking. And this next part just brilliantly illustrates the shift. So how does he show this profound new understanding? Not with a nice thank you. He grabs the master who just helped him, Dayu, and he strikes him in the ribs. It was his way of saying, I get it. The truth isn't in the words, it's in the direct action. And you know what? Dayu just laughed. So, what happens when that student becomes the teacher? Well, now that Linji was an enlightened master in his own right, he didn't just abandon these methods. Oh no, he perfected them. He became famous for using his own shouts, blows, and shocking behavior to wake up his own students. Take this story, for example. It's famous. Linji's up on the teaching platform, the Dharma seat. He's about to give a talk. All of a sudden, a very respected, much older master named Magu stands up and challenges him. But this isn't some polite debate with words. Magu walks right up there, physically drags the younger Linji off the seat of honor, and then sits there himself. It was a huge power play, right in front of everyone. So what does Linji do? Does he fight back? Does he yell? No. He just walks up to the old master who just humiliated him, stands below him, and very calmly, very politely asks, "How are you?" This completely threw Magu off. He was expecting a fight, not a simple courtesy, and he hesitated. And in that tiny split second of hesitation, Linji saw his opening. He grabbed Magu, pulled him off the seat, and sat right back down. And Magu, he just turned around and walked out of the hall. The entire lesson was complete. The true master was revealed, not by what they said, but by what they did. All of this really points to Linji's main goal, to destroy his students' attachment to any idea, even the holy ones. He wanted to stop them from turning concepts like Buddha or enlightenment into just another intellectual trophy to put on a shelf. He would often talk about this really profound idea, the true person of no rank. It's this beautiful term for that authentic, free, enlightened self that's already inside every single one of us, right here, right now. So, naturally, a monk hears this and, of course, tries to grab it with his intellect. He stands up and asks for a definition. Master, what is this true person of no rank?
Linji's response was just pure explosive action. He leaped down from his seat, grabbed the monk by the collar, got right in his face, and just yelled, "Speak, speak." He was forcing the monk to produce this true person on the spot, not just talk about it as an idea.
The monk, of course, was totally speechless. So Linji shoves him away in disgust and declares that this beautiful, sacred concept of the true person was nothing more than a dry stick, a stick used for cleaning up after going to the toilet. He used the most profane, shocking image possible to completely shatter the monk's sacred idea.
Okay, so by now you might be thinking, this all just sounds like crazy abusive behavior. But there was a very clear logic to Linji's madness. You could almost call it a kind of spiritual shock therapy.
Everything he did, the stick, the shouts, all the bizarre language, it was all a tool designed to do one single thing: bypass the thinking mind. He knew that enlightenment wasn't some idea you could figure out. It was an experience you had to have directly. His methods were like a violent shortcut, designed to jolt people out of their endless thoughts and into the raw, immediate reality of the present moment. And that's why this path, well, it isn't for the faint of heart. Linji taught that this kind of breakthrough requires absolute, total commitment. You have to be willing to put everything on the line, your precious ideas, your dignity, even your life, to confront the great matter of existence head-on, without flinching for a second.
And all this really leaves us with a final provocative thought. Linji used a stick to cut through the noise of 9th century China. So in our modern age, in a world literally designed to constantly distract us, what's our stick? What would it actually take to wake us up?